Hello, lovely to see you all. Welcome to our London Motion Cavalry Special July event. Very big fun. That's a mouthful, that one. Now, as a quick note, can we please make sure all your phones are on silent, but we do encourage pictures because you can share them with us at a later date. Now, I'm Ash. It'll be a pleasure to be your host for the evening. And it's really nice to see the room like jam-packed with like quite a bunch of new faces and what is undoubtedly a ton of creative talent. Now, this evening we have two absolute legends who are going to be talking with us tonight. Those being the amazing Ian Waters, the CTO at Cavalry and Canva, who you should know by now because, you know, look at where we are. We're in their building, so just if you don't, pretend. And also Luca Gonnelli. Got to get the accent right. One of the founders of Illo and Algo, two world-class design studios operating from Turin. Now, in addition, we have the ever-fantastic Jonah, who was spinning the wheels of steel at the back of the room. And we'd always love to thank Adam Jens and the team at Cavalry and Canva, who have kindly provided us the drinks in the fridge at the back, the space to use this evening, and basically like all the amenities you see here. So can we please put our hands together for them very quickly before we get into it? Thank you very much. Now, as a bit of a note, we'd love to ask that you, whilst the talks are ongoing, you try and remain seated. If you weren't scanned at the door or were on the wait list, please make yourself known to us either in the break or towards the end. Just helps us keep track of things, as it were. Now, unfortunately, we don't have our lovely little QR codes, which will direct you to our Slack today. So if you have already joined Slack or are part of it, then please put questions in the Q&A channel and I will moderate those a little bit later. Do make sure you've got a Slack account, just in case. Usual bits of housekeeping, so in the event of an emergency you know what to do. Toilets are at the back of the room, so on your left as you came in, my right, your left as you're sat down. Fire exits are through the same door you came in through, and there's one just behind this massive screen here. Outside of that, like, please keep it tidy in here. You know, obviously, if you're having a drink and stuff, just take it back. There's loads of bins and stuff dotted around. It just helps us out as we're heading out the building. And again, just a massive, massive thank you to Cavalry and Canva, alongside my partners in crime, Jay, Nick, Harvey, and Lauren. Without them and me, these events couldn't happen. So if you want to find us on socials, well, actually, that bit's not going to work because we don't have the QR code. So, without further ado, I'd love to introduce Ian Waters, the CTO here at Cavalry and Canva. By his own admission, he went from being a middling motion designer to the creator of Cavalry, along with all of the adventures in between and since. So can you please put your hands together for Ian Waters?
Hello, right, okay, I just need to find my presentation. There it is. There we go.
Yeah, that probably.
Right. So hi everyone, I'm Ian. A little bit about me is going to be the beginning of this talk. I've actually given this talk before, and two-thirds of this talk before, and if you think that that means it's going to come across as polished, you would be wrong. So we're going to start off with a bit about my life in motion design and my background, how Cavalry got started, and where we are today. So first of all, this is where I'm from. I'm from the Lake District. This is actually a photo from my stag do, which pretty much tells you all you need to know about me. So my parents kind of used to live on the right-hand side of this photo. Incidentally, on my stag do, we saw a stag. So if anyone was wondering what percentage of stag do's actually see a stag, it's non-zero. So the best way to describe growing up in the Lake District is that people live their lives in towns and cities like London and Manchester, and then they retire and they move somewhere like St Ives or Hastings, and then they die, and then they move to the Lake District. Another example of what it's like when I was growing up, someone phoned my mother when I was 9 years old. Phoned my mother to tell her I was being rowdy. And she should get me under control. If you'd like to know what I was doing, I was walking to church singing a hymn. So that's the standard there. I went to university in the great city of Hull, and there are no photos of me from my uni days because my parents lost them when they moved house. So here's a photo of me as a child, mid-soliloquy, and you can all look forward to being as enthralled by this talk as my grandmother is there in that photo. Okay, so after university, I moved to Ancoats in Manchester, and I got a job with the mighty Mainframe, motion graphics OGs, founded by Adam, who's in the room here somewhere. They basically built you an industry to be in. So if you're wondering why it looks like the building that I am in is being demolished, it's because that's kind of true. So we were, the Mainframe office adjoined another building, and they decided to demolish that building while we were at work one day. And the Mainframe office had a dartboard in it, and working toilets, like no expense spared. And I'm really bad at darts, and Jack, one of the motion designers there, he used to call it, when I used to miss the dartboard and like chip off a bit of brick, he used to call it Shawshanking it, which I always quite liked. But after this building got demolished, I threw a dart, and it just went outside the building. There was just a hole in the wall, so it's pretty great. So I don't know if anyone here uses Maya, but this is a note that was on Ben Black, who will come up later. It was on his desk at the Mainframe office. So back in 2012, that's when I joined Mainframe. They used Maya for motion graphics, and in 2012, Maya for motion graphics was pretty awful. You had to basically write scripts for everything, which is a little bit like After Effects. More on that later. So after a couple of very punishing projects, and having taught myself to program, I created this motion graphics toolkit for Maya. It was called MASH. I don't know if anyone has heard of it. MASH doesn't stand for anything. I just should not be allowed to name things. It's a mishmash of things, and I like the TV show. So yeah, it's called MASH. So it's a motion graphics tool, a little bit like MoGraph in Cinema 4D, a little bit like ICE in soft image, and maybe a bit of Houdini mixed in there, and some stuff that was all its own. So MASH could be used for like various different kinds of like placement and different kinds of work. The people at Autodesk saw this and they liked it, and so they bought it from Mainframe, and I spent about 3.5 years working for Autodesk, contracting on this and some other stuff like their 3D type tools. I worked on some deformers, I worked on the Bifrost UI, various bits and bobs basically. And it turned out that MASH, this image is by Stephen Corman, by the way, it turned out that MASH was really good at terrestrial ecosystems, like placing things like trees and plants and all that kind of stuff. And these people who were interested in this kind of work used it to do some really great stuff. So here is like 3 indie movies. We've got like Frozen 2 and Jurassic World 8 or something, and Sherry Bobbins over there. So MASH was really cool. You could do things like you could brush place stones and things like that in midair, and they kind of like dynamically fall to the ground and kind of settle like in a really natural way. You could also do things like you could simulate terrestrial ecosystems. What that means is basically the simulation would start with a seed, and the seed would go in the ground, and then that would grow into a tree, and the tree would drop seeds, and then those seeds would grow into trees, and then they would drop seeds, and they'd grow into trees. And basically, you could simulate an ecosystem by saying, I want this ecosystem to be 100 years old. But you could like massage it. So you could say, I want these trees to grow near water. I want these ones to grow only on slopes. That kind of stuff. And there was even a line of code in there that said, what happens if a bird comes and eats a seed and then flies over there and then does a poo? Does that then turn into a tree? So just so you know, I don't have a life. MASH got picked up by some of the like best VFX houses in the world and used in a few movies. This is just some of the films that MASH got used in. This list is out of date, so I haven't worked in this industry for like 6 years. So yeah, but you get the idea. It got used in a bunch of films, which resulted in it being noticed. And me getting an Oscar nod. So basically, for people who aren't aware, there's these things called the SciTech Oscars, which they're real Oscars, they're actual Oscars. And it's for people who make inventions, creations that advance the art of filmmaking, basically. And so like the person who invented the IMAX camera, they have an Oscar, that kind of thing. And it's a separate ceremony because we all look weird, so they put us in a different room and it's all that kind of thing. And basically, I got the phone call and they said, you need to be in LA at the Academy in 2 weeks. You need to come and do some interviews, some presentations, that kind of thing. And you basically go and do these lightning talks. And the lightning talks, you get 5 minutes to talk about your invention, like what you've done. And you do it in front of about 200 members of the Academy. And I was feeling pretty confident. Like, you saw the last couple of slides, there's some nice pictures in there, like lots of films and movies and things like that. It's quite good. And the first talk happens, and it was the person who invented rotoscoping. And so I think, shit. There's been a terrible mistake. Like, is that the standard? Like, really? And then the next talk is someone talking about film logging, like, you know, this ISO, that kind of thing. And it was all very technical, lots of spreadsheets. And I was next, but I thought, you know, it's okay. I have pretty pictures in my presentation, so, like, I'm a shoo-in, basically. So I go up and I give my talk, and at the end of it, I show that slide with those like movie posters on it, and I'm like, and MASH has been used in over 12 blockbusters, you know, that kind of thing, that kind of finish, like mic drop, and then walk off. And as I'm going back to my seat, I noticed that I'm sat, like the person sat next to me, who I hadn't paid any attention to because I was just in the zone and, you know, pooing myself. And I noticed that this person is John Knoll. So for those of you who don't know, John Knoll won an Oscar for the visual effects on Star Wars. And if you like look at any like good blockbuster from the last 20 years, it probably says VFX producer John Knoll. He's amazing. He's a bit of a legend. And I sat down and I thought, oh my God, John Knoll is next to me. He's won an Oscar. And then he got up to go and do the next talk. And I thought to myself, like, but he already has one. Why is he allowed to go? And so he went to the front, and he went with someone else, and he goes to the front, and he says, hello, my name's John Knoll, and everyone laughs because everyone knows who John Knoll is. And then he says, in 1987, me and my brother Thomas invented Adobe Photoshop. At which point, I feel like he locks eyes straight onto me, and he says, and it has been used in every film since. Like, if anyone here has ever had imposter syndrome, I can guarantee you, I feel you. So yes, spontaneous vomiting later. You won't be surprised to know that I didn't win an Oscar. So if you want to know, like, this is what it's like when you don't win one. They send you a letter, and it basically says, you know, you are inadequate, and for God's sakes, stop talking about bird poo. So after the presentations and everything, I went downstairs and I met Dave Simmons, who's the inventor of After Effects. He's an amazing bloke, really, really nice. And he told me that it was his 14th attempt at getting an Oscar at the Cytec Oscars, and they won that year, well deserved. So, you know, huge honor to be part of the process, blah, 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 but, you know, it would have been nice. So, what next? So, while we were working at Autodesk, we worked on a project to make a link between Maya and After Effects. And a bit like, you know, the C4D link, I'm sure a few of you use. And we went to the After Effects team and we said, to make what we would consider a good experience for our users, please can we have these features? Can we have this, 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 and this? And they came back to us and said, love it, love your ideas. The answer is no, 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 and maybe in a few years. And we're about 10 years later and it's still not there. So I was a little bit in disbelief at the fact that, you know, what I considered basic things weren't there, especially coming from the Maya world where it's really good for developers. And I had a rant at Ben Black over here. So Ben Black is an amazing, I think he works at Future Deluxe now, so he's an amazing motion designer. Chris on the far side there, he was the managing director of Mainframe North, and he's the Cavalry CEO at the moment. And I mean, at the moment, I mean like he is the Cavalry CEO. So I had a rant. So I had a rant to Ben, and the rant went, so I've made this terrible illustration to kind of visualize the rant, but the rant went, the problem with After Effects is that while it is a wonderful and, incredibly easy to use compositor, the fact of the matter is that people are using it for things it wasn't designed for. I don't think it's very good at motion graphics out of the box, and it's even worse at data, and people have to get scripts and plugins, and they have to pile them on top of After Effects in order to kind of like fill in the table stakes features that you want in motion design in this day and age. And they obviously, they all cost money. And I've nothing against plugins and scripts and things like that. I used to make them myself. Cavalry can have them. The issue is I don't think that they should be providing fundamental workflows. And the argument is that they're kind of like scaffolding holding up this motion graphics facade and castles built on sand and all other metaphors as well. And I wasn't done. So I said virtually none of these like plugins and scripts talk to each other. And due to the kind of the ecosystem nature of After Effects, none of these scripts kind of, they're not encouraged to be consistent with each other. The system doesn't really encourage or allow or enforce that in any way. And what this means is that you get lots of scripts and plugins that are kind of conceptually incoherent with the host app in After Effects. And that in itself, some of the plugins just basically launch other apps on top of After Effects. And just to me, this is a mess. And I said that basically, if someone isn't careful, a new startup's going to come along and steal the motion designers. And that weekend, I went away and I kind of thought, if I was going to design a piece of motion graphics software like from scratch, what would it be? What would the workflows be? And I came up with 3 or 4 kind of workflows, and I kind of built this kind of on Rails kind of demo. And this is the only screenshot I have of that prototype, and it has shrunk in the wash. You can see this is 2017. So the idea, the kind of one of the kind of the crux of the idea of the start of Cavalry was that a lot of software, creative software, when there is something that seems similar conceptually to a user, to a creative, but technically it's quite different, that different technicality is forced on the user. So, for example, I'm going to use Maya here because I'm very familiar with it, but it's very similar across all of the creative apps. So in Maya, or After Effects actually, if you want to make the position of something move around, you do what's called, in After Effects, a wiggle expression. In Maya, you would do some scripting, mel scripting. And if you want the edges of something to be wobbly, in Maya, you would do a noise deformer. And in After Effects, you would, I don't know, cry, filter of some kind. It's not the same thing. But so two different workflows for the same thing. It's noise, right? So one of the things I wanted to do was, like, noise is noise. Just learn noise once and then reuse noise everywhere that you want to use noise. Just do that. And you kind of just take that idea and you extrapolate that along all the different concepts that you have in creative software, basically. And the capabilities of the software haven't changed, but your time to become an expert has reduced because you're learning one workflow, you're learning one way of doing everything, and then you can just branch off into different workflows. I've explained that really badly, haven't I? Okay, never mind. So I demoed like those 3 or 4 different workflows to Chris, the managing director of Mainframe, and Martin here. So Martin is a software developer who was working at Mainframe, incredibly talented, and I demoed this, and Chris said, why don't you take a month? Take a month to basically flesh out the ideas, see if it's got any legs. So Martin and I set to work. I designed the concepts and the features and the workflows, and then Martin basically just like worked out, based on those workflows and those concepts, what kind of an engine is needed. And what Martin did is absolutely remarkable. Like the Cavalry engine, we think the underlying technology behind Cavalry, we think there's only one other piece of software that has anything like it on planet Earth, and it is Houdini, and ours is like 1 billion times easier to use. So, because he gave us a month, we took 6 weeks, and then we pitched Chris, and then we said, can we work on this? And he said yes. Only, What we actually pitched was something a little bit different. We pitched something that could do offline animation, so video, running to video, and we pitched it that it would also be able to export vector animation for the web, because we were going to do that. Only it turns out if you want to do animation for the web, you need pots of money. And we don't have pots of money because we're in Ancoats. And this is actually a photograph of our end-of-year results for 2021. And we basically decided we had to take embedded out of the equation, and we had to push video, images, data, that kind of thing. And it turns out you can build pretty good software with like a lean process and a clear vision, that kind of thing. So here's a fact for you. We built the entirety of Cavalry for the amount of money that Adobe spends on R&D in 121 minutes. Yeah. So what did we build? Okay, so on the next slide, there's a video that I'm just gonna talk over. So this is like an 80-second video, and you're gonna see me making a kind of bespoke text animation, and I'm gonna talk through those points on the screen. So Cavalry is by motion designers, for motion designers. I was a terrible motion designer. I wanted something to make it easier to make good motion design. So we've been there, we've got the scars, and we just basically wanted to build a creative playground for people like us to play in. And it's very fast. Cavalry is like fully GPU, all the rendering, all that kind of thing. It's really, really, really fast. It's a general purpose tool. We've zigged while everyone else has zagged. So we were actually encouraged to not build Cavalry at the beginning. We had a meeting with Red Giant who said, why don't you just build an After Effects plugin? Why don't you just build an FUI plugin for After Effects? We're not here for that. We're here to solve the problem. So data and text forward. I actually think it's data and text first. Cavalry probably has the best text animation features of any piece of animation software, I think. And we're still pushing ahead there. What else does it say up there? 3D methodologies in 2D. Yeah, so that was our background. So we wanted to bring the innovations and the advances from 3D into 2D because that's where kind of all the innovation is happening. And then learn a workflow once, apply it many times. That's kind of the noise thing I was talking about before. Only you can extrapolate that over many different kinds of workflows, and then it's open. So our scene format is a JSON file. You can go in there, you can edit it. We've got JavaScript, and when you're making JavaScript in Cavalry, you're using our data types. So whatever you do has to be conceptually coherent with what we're building, because we only let you use our building blocks. So it's we're very opinionated about that. Okay, so we launched Cavalry on the 2nd of the 2nd, 2020, a nice symmetrical date. That was Ad's choice back there. He quite likes a symmetrical date. And just to make this all about me, in February 2020, when we launched Cavalry, I've moved to Sheffield. I love it. That's why it's in here. So that's a view from our flat, and we actually live opposite the Botanical Gardens now. So that's where I go for lunch in the top right-hand corner, and Sheffield is reflected in the software. So we've got a dynamic system in Cavalry called Forge Dynamics. Sheffield is the steel city, and so that's why that feature is called that. I told you I shouldn't be allowed to name things. And when we released Cavalry, we had some branding work done. Don't worry, I'm going to talk less now. There's going to be lots of videos to watch from here on out. So the next slide is going to be a video of the branding work that we had done for the Cavalry launch. So that work was by Benjamin Gabanig. Okay, so automation and data. So translations, lower thirds, color variations, that kind of thing. This is something we wanted to build into Cavalry from the very beginning, so being able to hook different data sources in, that kind of stuff. And we think we've done this really effectively. And just so if any of you ever get stressed out about different aspect ratios, different kind of color schemes or different languages and all that kind of thing, just know that Cavalry has effectively solved this as a problem, and in a really easy way as well. So after we launched Cavalry, it's safe to say it went down incredibly well with the motion design community. It's been picked up by some of the best artists and the biggest brands and agencies on the planet. And when it comes to our own community, we've got over 10,000 people on our Discord server these days, 90,000 people following us on Instagram, 30,000 on YouTube. The community grows like every day. And with us being such a small team, we really value the community because they help us enormously by answering questions on the Discord or creating tutorials or content for the socials. It's absolutely amazing. Cavalry is shaped by the magicians that use it. And I honestly think that the best people to suggest the future of what this tooling should be are the people solving these problems day to day. So if you hop onto our Discord server, it's highly likely you'll end up talking to me and Chris at some point. So just want to take a second to talk about Scenery, which is a third-party website. So it's not run by us. It's distinct, and it is a web page you can go to view scenes, download scenes created by Cavalry artists. And it's a great place to go to just see some of the kind of work that Cavalry can produce. Scenery also, you can get some scripts, plugins, tutorials on there now. They're organizing classes, some amazing classes on there. So if you decide to have a look at Cavalry, or if you do have a look at Cavalry, this is a great resource to go to. So, sorry, that's a bit blinding, isn't it? Anyone heard of this startup? So we started working with the Canva Motion team, closely with the Canva Motion team, kind of April last year. And they use Cavalry, well, they use Cavalry a lot these days, obviously. But at the time, they were kind of trying to switch over to it from the other software. And I'll just show you an example of the kind of work that they do. But this year they produced nearly an hour of animation for a keynote that at Canva Create. But this is the kind of stuff that they produce on a kind of day-to-day. I asked the motion team, can you just send me some videos of your Cavalry work? And I got so many. It's obviously far too many to show. So here's just one example of what they're doing. So the relationship built over the next few months, and it all went very well. And basically, they told their leadership, and their leadership told their leadership. And then in February this year, we joined Canva. Well done, Ad. So at Canva Create, Cavalry went free, and I genuinely think it's pretty astonishing that professional-grade software like Affinity, like Cavalry, is available for commercial work for free. It's Canva giving something back to the creative community. It's really astonishing. So where am I going next? That note doesn't mean anything. Oh yeah, okay. So the next slide is the launch sizzle reel. Basically, you may have seen this before. It was kind of everywhere when we launched. The thing that I want you to take away from the reel is that the work is really it's design led. It's tastemaking. It's not the kind of the standard work that you see, and it's just kind of again, it indicates the kind of stuff that you can do with Cavalry, so I love it. Anyway, just play the reel. Yeah, amazing work. Okay, so we got to go to Canva Create, and so here's a photo of me and Chris with some of the motion team. Jack on the right here, he did kind of a bake-off, and he beat his boss, which is great. Chris, you can just see his bald head at the back of that photo at the bottom right. He ran some design labs, which were amazing, and I don't know if anyone watched the World Cup, but it was at the SoFi Stadium where I think the opening game was made. Some of the stadium, some of it's underground. It's amazing. What's cooking? So here's a look at some of the upcoming features in Cavalry. They're curated, carefully curated. So we've got other things. This is just some of the stuff that I'm allowed to show, basically. So first of all, this is Cavalry has had like tapered strokes for quite a while now, but we haven't had the ability to directly manipulate them in the viewport. And we can now have strokes where they're wide, then they're thin, then they're wide again. And there's a graph that controls this, and basically you can go and edit that, or you can do it all in the viewport. And it supports gradients along a stroke. And this is possible because we basically stole it from Affinity. That's great. I'm going to steal so much of the stuff as well. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is Canvas Sheets integration into Cavalry. So this is coming. Yeah, well, it's on the way. And the thing that's important here is that you can gate this, so you can basically only give certain people access to this kind of to the data. So something you can't do with our Google Sheets implementation. So that has to be public. That data has to be public, basically. So in this, you don't have to do that. This is unbelievably predictable. Everyone knew this was coming. So here's a graphic that's in Affinity, and you can now bring that into Cavalry as well. It's raster. That's in progress. And this is a really cool new filter that's coming. So you can have lots of different lights and things, and long shadows, and then we've got some ripple filters, like revolutionary. Just still fitting in some of the basics. Twist and all that kind of thing, yeah. And then here's something that's really cool. So this is our new morph behavior. So we did have morph behavior already. It was just rubbish. And this one is really, really good. This is so nerdy, but like the details that like I pay attention to, like watch what happens with the M and the D, how the hole appears, and then the O, so next to the M, like how the holes merge. It's really cool. I like it. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off by showing you this. So Cavalry is free for commercial work, and here are some After Effects plugins that have analogs in Cavalry. And this list is not exhaustive. I just got bored, and like PT multiplane camera isn't on there. We have a particle system that's in beta and all that kind of thing. And basically, because a lot of this is repeat costs, like you pay every year, and for After Effects itself, Cavalry can save you a lot of money, basically. And like I said, it's 100% free for commercial use. So it's young, Cavalry's still young, and we're just getting started, really, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. And that's it.
Getting there, hang on. Can we get a huge round of applause for Ian? And I'm going to do Q&A a bit differently because I know you guys don't post in the Slack, it always happens. But I'm going to run around for 5 questions because I'm not getting any younger. So 5 questions is what we have. I'm not sure who wants to sort of open a bit in. Oh, Jerome, lovely. Right, I'm coming to you.
Thank you for the just wanted to know, when you found out that Cavalry was going to be moving off to Canva, what was your thought process, and what things were you kind of worried about? Because we know when like a bigger company buys like a smaller startup, a lot of things change. So what things were you kind of worried about that might be not up to your control?
So we weren't particularly worried, and the reason for that is that we'd already built a relationship. So we've been working closely with them for months. So I mean, at the point the deal closed in February, it was 10 months that we've been working with the various teams at Canva, and we just like you get a vibe, and we really like what they're doing, and they clearly like what we're doing, and we were told basically that we'd remain somewhat of independence. We get to choose the kind of things that go into Cavalry and all that kind of thing, and all of that is true. It's remained so. Like we just have more resources now, and that's incredible. And everyone has been incredibly generous with their time. And yeah, like I say, Affinity are like come and take our code. It's great. So yeah, it's been a really good experience, genuinely. And yeah, we weren't particularly worried, and it's because we felt like we already knew them, like we already had a relationship when we went in there. So it wasn't kind of like a cold call. Yeah, we'd already been working with them for months, and we'd had introductory calls and all that, introductory calls and all that kind of thing at the beginning anyway. So yeah, so we knew them. So yeah, it was easy.
I'll answer it for you. Lovely. Anyone else got another one? Go on, don't be shy. Rubes.
I have a very specific question in one of the presentation slide I'm very interested with. I saw one of the animation is like two glassly looking like Apple UI. Is that also created by Cavalry?
So everything you saw there was created by Cavalry, yeah.
That's amazing because we try really hard to recreate that in After Effects, which is hard. So that's really amazing. So
I'm going to be honest, I have no idea how people do half the stuff they do in Cavalry. People are amazing.
And for presentation.
You're welcome.
It's time for you to kindly take your seats again for us. I have it on good authority the pizza's coming, but it'll be for afterwards. Just give you all a moment or two to find your seats again. Lovely. Gap at the front all of a sudden. I'm just watching them at the back. Just slowly make their way to this. Yeah, you. All right, let's kick things off again. So, thank you very much for sticking with us for the first half. Let's kick off the second half with the CEO and creative director of Algo and a partner and founder of Illo. He believes that humans and robots can happily coexist and create awesome things together. Could you please put your hands together for Luca Gonnelli?
Hello, thank you. Thanks for having me, and yeah, thanks to London Motion for inviting me, and of course Cavalry for making it happen, and of course Canva for the wonderful space we are in. So my name is Luca. I'm co-founder of Illo, a motion design studio based in Italy, as you can probably tell from my little accent. We're a team of around 20 people doing outstanding work in the field of narrative motion design, and also working a lot on illustration system, motion systems, aka adding an expression layer into digital products. And we are kind of always guided by colors and by optimism. I'm gonna show a quick reel of the Illo team. Thank you. So over the years, we went through the process of also starting a sister studio called Algo, that I now, since something like 3-4 years, run as a creative director. Algo really started as a single client project within the Illo team, and then turned into its own side project, and eventually, gradually evolved into this full distinct studio with its own team of around 10 people that are kind of working from Torino and also a bit internationally. And if I have to describe and to define what Algo does, I'd say it's a motion and data visualization studio, mixing the two together, and that we work mainly on two things. One thing is wrapped campaigns, so campaigns where there's a unique animation for every user, and also creating motion identities that are normally either generative or ready for automation. So there's a lot of thought behind like what similarities with how Cavalry works in our work. And then we normally build these identities into actually branded creative tools, our little easy-to-use After Effects, that are a bit tailored for each one of our clients. So with the objective of making motion design more easy and more accessible within their team. So the tools that Algo creates for our clients tend to output things like these, basically. Some social posts, video cards, animated charts, titles, speakers intros, soundbite videos, video ads, this kind of stuff. I'm gonna also show a reel of Algo.
I want it. 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 Want it. I want it. I want it. Want it. I want it. I want it.
Thank you. So basically, to make it trying to make it simple, when we work with large organizations, we try to create tools that empower anyone, even those who are not potentially designers or motion designers, to be able to execute on the motion system of the company without ever breaking the guidelines. And more importantly, we do that by freeing, because we want to free the internal creative team from the more repetitive task, so they can focus more on the projects where they add their creative value. And when working with smaller design teams instead, we tend to try to build tools that they need in order to execute on a specific and complex, maybe generative identities, like in this case, where we used WebGL to kind of help this client build a tool able to do this kind of bit crazy 3D animation, which wouldn't be possible with kind of general purpose design software alone. So you can see ourselves as a mix between a creative studio and a tech team. We've been exploring and creating tools and building tools with all of these different technologies and a bit all of the animation platforms and technologies that are available. And this brings me to the title of my talk, which today is about motion designers with procedural superpowers. I think really that there's never been a better time to be a motion designer. Until a few years ago, Adobe After Effects has been the monopoly tool in our industry, and now instead not anymore. Now we have new tools that create new workflows that make motion design more ubiquitous and honestly much more interesting. One is, you guessed it, Cavalry. No, really, we love how Cavalry is also sparking. I'm a believer of the fact that tools shape the visual languages, and I think Cavalry has been really pushing, and its community, of course. These are all examples by community, by artists on the Cavalry community. Has been really pushing forward this aesthetic of where graphic design, typography, creative coding collide. Even though we, of course, know that Cavalry doesn't, it's a no-code animation interface. Of course, we also have other tools like Rive, the animation platform and game engine for more interactive motion design. Yeah, these are just a few beautiful examples by a studio called Noodle from Chicago, back that probably doesn't need an introduction, and a fellow Italian motion designer, Emanuele Colombo. And like, okay, one could argue that, okay, maybe it's true that there's never been a better time to be a motion designer, but also I'm aware that this sentence might sound a bit strange or over-optimistic in recent times. And another fair question might be, what's the point of being a designer in the age of AI? So if you're like me, you probably have been feeling some FOBO, fear of being obsolete, especially when these kind of people make these statements, like 95% of creative jobs will be gone in 5 years. And I hate to bring all the bad news today, but the CEO of OpenAI said this around 2 years ago. So we still have about 2 years, 6 months, and 21 days of design career ahead of us. I'm counting. Now, jokes aside, I think it's important that we put a calendar event on around March 2029 in our calendar. I encourage you to do so, because we need to kind of keep these people accountable for these kind of crazy statements that they do. And I really believe that, like, behind all this mythology of AI and this kind of sea of AI sameness and this ocean of slop that we are constantly diving in every day, I think that organizations need designers more than ever today. They need a vision. They need to differentiate with everyone else, where AI instead sometimes brings everyone to do a bit of the same things. Need the courage to do the non-obvious choices. If a tool can output so many things in 1 second that look like similar, almost perfect, but actually are not, you really need the courage to go against that. And also, the companies, and this I'm speaking for experience, need sometimes designers that are telling them in what interesting ways you can use AI, because in many cases, even the company building the AI tools are still finding out how to use them. And yes, of course, the role of the designer will change, is going to change a lot. We are not going to be able to merely execute anymore. My opinion is that we will shift from designing the canvas, the actual pixels of the thing, to designing the rules of the system. So trying to infuse our vision for our project should look and feel, and then maybe a new tool will kind of do the heavy lifting for us. In the end, I think this design is how it works, said someone that is smarter than Sen Altman. And I think we really need to, as designers in this moment, we need to step up and to claim responsibility of how things work rather than just how they look. So we were discussing about all these within the two teams, and quite honestly, we were tired about hearing, of course, only talk about AI all the time. So we decided to focus a bit of our time on the thing that we felt was the most completely opposite from AI, which is, of course, the ancient past. And before showing you the thing, you must know that we take R&D very seriously at Illo and Algo. So R&D is, we consider it, of course, both technical and also visual. And it's the only function that is fully shared in between the two teams. So everyone, like motion designer, creatives, designers, producers, are separate. The Algo ones and the Illo ones. R&D is the only function where a very small team of 2 people are shared in between the 2 studios. And practically, with this, what does it mean? So we try to dedicate a weekly 2 hours session on every Fridays. Now, my team would say maybe it's not really every Friday, but almost. with everybody from both teams invited to join, and where basically we try to either learn together a new tool or experiment on a shared visual topic without, of course, being pressured into a client project. So I'm here to tell you a bit more about the latest exploration that took over a couple of months of these Friday sessions. And yeah, as I was saying, we were looking for an ancient anti-AI visual direction until we stumbled on Araldica, which translates to heraldry in English, I think. The art of creating symbols to represent lineages or houses in medieval times. Also decorating shields, flags, drapes, anything really. Today we'd call it the brand system of the Middle Ages. Jokes aside, I think this is something that is particularly strong in Italian culture and also British cultures, by the way. I think it unites our cultures. Just by walking around Shoreditch, I found this, and so I thought, okay, the talk about Araldica is gonna make some sense. So we've been started experimenting around this theme with the whole team, and everyone could like experiment and do different things. There are some people that built tools to create shields designs, or there are people that instead experimented more on character animation, or others instead on stuff, something like this. The snake was my experimentation. But yeah, we kind of played with this checkered pattern, and we kind of built upon them, and we started really, everyone in the team could do whatever they wanted, but then of course with a bit of guidance by our creative directors in the team, we kind of took a bit of a direction. And this, by the way, is unreleased work. It will be in our portfolio in a month or so, so you're seeing it first. So of course, yeah, we play with the checkered pattern that's typical of heraldry. We try to find a modern take and try to look at the same time old and new. And can you guess what tool we would turn to when exploring these? Yes, exactly. We turn to Cavalry, the one that refers to medieval times even with its name. So we thought it was perfect. So our first occasion to showcase this was at Off Festival, where we were lucky enough to put this on the giant facade of the Museo del Desini. It'll look like this. So it was really nice to see it on such a, you don't tell it from the video, but it's a like very big screen. And then we kept exploring. So we started thinking about, okay, what if this was looking like our own little music app? And we were trying to understand, yeah, we have this design that's perfect for the facade, entire facade, but then how are we gonna crop it for the different, the different placements within potentially a music app? And so, yeah, we went on and kind of built visualizations that are kind of full screen. We're playing sometimes in Cavalry, sometimes in other instruments as well. But yeah, we started to play with it from an audio reactiveness point of view and try to see where this was going. It was interesting, yeah, building the little nudge that's kind of moving in function of the sound wave. And yeah, we thought, okay, making motion in function of sound is cool, but also everyone else is doing it. So why don't we do the opposite? So making sound out of motion design. So we started experimenting with Touch Designer and kind of created this little line that was moving across our animation, and it output music in function of what shape and what color is hitting the line at any moment. And of course, different instruments and different notes were connected to the line depending on which color it was hitting. And I can show an example with audio, hopefully. Thank you. So this was an example of visual R&D done by the Illo team. which we are proud of, and yeah, will be out soon. I want to also give you another example of R&D, in this time of technical R&D, done by the Algo team instead. And it involves Cavalry, of course. In particular, the newly released web player, which we got to test a bit ahead of its release. And as maybe some of you know, the web player allows you to drop a CV file into a web page, and it plays the animation back within the HTML canvas. And this brings, of course, procedural animation to the web. And we felt it was kind of game-changing for us, and coming in a time where we were seeing the two platforms that bring animation to the web kind of a bit fighting between each other. It was fun to watch. I don't know if you saw the Twitter thread about this, yeah, with the Lottie files fighting with the Rive team. But yeah, of course, the Cavalry web player is not Lottie or Rive. I see it closer to something like P5.js maybe, or kind of a tool enabling procedural animation on the web. But differently from P5, is less focused on interactivity and more focused on narrative motion, because of course comes out of a timeline, and as the tools that us animators are used to see. So I think it really gives animators superpowers. And a power that now, until now, only creative coders had, and I feel that there are many more animators than creative coders out there. So I feel that it's also an important thing that the Cavalry team did. So the story of how Typeflow started, I'm gonna show Typeflow in a second. We got access to the closed beta in October 2025, and it was very early stage, of course. But fortunately, Ian and the rest of the team were so nice to help us when something wasn't working exactly the way we imagined. And the idea was really trying to prove that Cavalry could be used by our team to be the engine of one of our branded creative tools. So building a full tool that was kind of working in Cavalry, but also previewing the animation inside the web page. Of course, Cavalry is built for connecting data to animation, is built for systems, and so the whole process of creating these systems is much easier, and the motion engineering process that we go through the Algo while working on Algo project is much simpler in Cavalry compared to After Effects. But it's true that until then, there was no way for us to do a live preview of the animation, which was the single most requested feature by any of our Algo client ever. Before that, we were using After Effects, and we were exporting to Lottie and using Lottie as a kind of a way to have a template and kind of have a live preview in the browser. But instead, of course, with the Cavalry web player, we finally could do this, and it was the last missing step for our adoption. So we rapidly started working to use it in one of our free demos. So when we are working on an R&D project with Algo, we normally do a free demo, which means a tool that is available online, and anyone can go there and use it and create its own animation. And of course, it's to enable people to do something, but also kind of to showcase what our capabilities are in terms of a team for maybe doing that for client projects. So we love the spirit of the Cavalry community. Before this project, every demo was always completely done by us, also in terms of animation templates. But this time we decided to kind of get in touch with the Cavalry community with some of our favorite Cavalry animators that you probably might know as well: Chewbacca, Antonin, Mario De Meyer, Matteo Campostrini. And they were super nice to and happy to be on board. And so we kind of started building this library of different templates that will be available within Typeflow. And yeah, a few months before, always during another R&D exploration led by our R&D director, Matteo, we were learning how to render Cavalry video in a really fast and cloud-based serverless infrastructure. And to achieve this, we needed to run Cavalry on Linux, which is not made for. But yeah, we were able to in some way. It was not easy, but proved possible. And so yeah, now our render infrastructure actually can render video files by running Cavalry on Linux. So yeah, we finally had all the components. So beautiful type animation templates by some of our favorite artists. a front end that lets you customize them and that has a live preview, and an infrastructure to render the files very quickly. So in early December, we had a tool ready, and we contacted the Cavalry team for asking permission to go live with it, to start using it, because at that time, of course, there was a closed beta for the web player. And yeah, they were probably expecting us to take a bit longer than a few months to build something, but they were super kind to let us go live, and also they went live with us. So thanks guys for going very fast on that part. And so yeah, we created this little demo called Typeflow, which is officially, I think, the first project going live by using the web player. And of course, it's just a demonstration tool. It has like 6 scenes you can select, you can switch color palette, you can write stuff, and you can create a video. But then it led us to build client projects that we are now working on. One is about to be released, and it started to be used last week by the client. So basically, yeah, that's always the process for our R&D, especially at Algo. So R&D tries to enable interesting client projects that maybe then will attract less interested but better paid client projects, and that all of that will fund more R&D, and we try to go ahead with this flywheel as much as possible. But yeah, this brings me to my conclusions, where I try to put down my thoughts on what's ahead for this and for procedural and animation in general, and for our world. I think that systems are really here to stay. So with all of the different touch points where brands need to communicate nowadays, and how also the creative work is being structured within organization. The motion teams within organization is becoming bigger and bigger. So basically this pushes everyone to not only work on a one-off piece, but work on a system. And so I think that this is going to stay. I don't know if you like working on systems or if you preferred one-offs, but I think, yeah, we should somehow, I think they will be for a while still here. If my co-founder, Ile, which I argue a lot with, was here, she would probably say, enough with system, they are great for scalability, only capitalism loves them, but not everything needs to scale, which is also makes a lot of sense. So if your approach is too systemic, you might lack memorability. You can be perfectly consistent and completely forgettable. So this is why systems are not enough to build a real brand presence, we think. And at the same time, you don't want to do the opposite. So you don't want to surprise the user for every time you get in touch with them. So yeah, when we approach this type of project, we try to approach them as a language, meaning that for some type of assets, and this is referring to animations inside a product, inside a digital product. But yeah, maybe for the UI, you don't want to be incredibly creative. It's important that it is functional, it is, of course, systemic, it is repeatable, while as you go up to maybe icons and pictograms and spot illustration and heroes, you should be more authorial and tailored on this level. So there are different levels, and this is something we share very much with Algo as well. So we are not trying to do the hero campaign with a tool by Algo, but it's important that Algo is there maybe within a team in order to take care of some heavy lifting on the more repeatable work, while instead the internal team can focus on creating those hero campaigns. Then I think, maybe you saw this, I suppose everyone has seen this, but building your own creative tools for every project is becoming really the norm. Of course, pushed by AI that is really good at lowering the cost of creating software. So many designers nowadays are building their own tools to kind of follow the purpose of the specific project. And I think this will kind of make more uncommon visual solution possible more frequently, and eventually will influence the next visual trends as well. As I said before, I'm a big believer that trends are shaped by the tools that we use. I guess maybe you already happen to have seen online flowers with an ashy filter on top of it. I think that's something that is really popping up in my feed all the time these days. So I think that it's definitely this aspect of vibe coding your own creative tool is already kind of having an impact on the work that studios and creatives and freelancers are putting out there. And last one, of course, with all these tools, we'll kind of democratize content creation inside the client organizations. So, of course, internal teams will be more free from high maintenance and low quality work, so they can focus on more relevant projects. And this will increase the output quality and also the quantity of these companies, while maybe the companies that are more merely following off-the-shelf or using off-the-shelf generative AI platforms, I think will have a problem with inconsistency at a company scale and also maybe in quality. So I feel that this is a smarter approach to that. And also, after the acquisition of Cavalry, I can see Canva going in this direction, maybe, I don't know. With creative professional, I expect creative professional to kind of be able to work on the system, and maybe everyone else inside the organization using them from their Canva account. So, of course, let's see what the future holds. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely stunning. Thank you very much, Luca. As before, 5 questions. Better make them good. I'm looking for hands up real quick. Does anybody have anything to kick us off? Not yet, not yet. Oh, there we go. Reluctant, but it's there.
Thanks, Luca, for a super interesting talk.
Thanks.
Just in terms of the sort of generative brand systems, obviously saw a few examples that you shared. I'm just wondering, on that side of things, when you're building those tools for brands, and I assume marketers and stuff to use, the actual like web interfaces, are you building them with like white labeled off the shelf stuff, or are they all sort of like custom coded by the Algo and Illo team?
Yeah, no. We are always building them custom coded. I think, yeah, that's probably the part where I'm not becoming a rich entrepreneur in my lifetime. But yeah, we are basically starting and building something custom for every project. And what I think is interesting on the generative projects is that, generative is always sometimes, you think about generative by kind of randomizing something. So you introduce a random function, and it will kind of go places without your control. You kind of lose your control to randomicity. While instead, I think that instead connecting it to data or working more towards like, okay, generative is not only random, is based on that, but it's kind of how to connect it to data and how to make it go beyond the random function. I think it's the interesting thing. And yeah, it's, as you can tell, it's always very different from every project, and it's going to be completely following the design. So the design comes first, or kind of the concept and the rules of the system come first, and then we go backward to what technology to use or how to code it.
Lovely. Who's next? Anyone? Nothing right at the back, no? I've got to like walk all the way to the front to see all the hands, to be honest with you, Luca. Anyone? Any more? Are you sure? You've all gone like meek and mild now, and it's a little bit rare. Fair enough. Oh, right at the back again. Double bubble. Excellent. Look at that. Right, hang on. He was first, then you're next. Hang on.
Hi, thanks for the talk and for building that tool that showed everyone how to use the web player. Very inspirational. But just people who are getting into selling dynamic branding and generative branding into clients, any tips for kind of convincing clients to not just get a static kind of branding system and investing in that and everything that involves?
You mean like selling to client the fact that they're going to use a tool versus instead
Yeah,
getting...
and possibly a little bit more investment in that tool.
Yeah.
I think it's new for clients just as much as it's new for designers and design agencies.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Selling Algo projects is not the easiest thing, and it's been somewhere where I put a lot of effort on. I think for us the real game changer was the fact that not to, like, of course there are projects that maybe start with the internal motion design team wants to automate some part of their process, and so they ask you, can I have an After Effects template to do that, and maybe a little script or something, and you can do that, and you can give them that. But to us, the real big differentiator was not directly go to talk to the motion design team, but rather to explain that by giving a tool like this to anyone else in the company, not literally anyone, I don't think CEOs are doing that, but kind of, yeah, maybe, in companies that's full of subject matter experts of maybe, I don't know, I'm in a fintech startup, there will be people that are expert in finance, but they don't know anything about motion design or design at all. And so kind of giving them a tool where they cannot break it, like you, of course, unlike a template into After Effects, where you can go in and you need to know what you're doing, and then you can break very easily the output in a toolkit or in a creative tool like the ones we build in Algo. You cannot break the rules. It's like these are strong rules. So kind of giving these people the ability to output video and play with it and have fun and kind of be always on brand and consistency. That's we are designers. We are really. We're really strong on the aspect of consistency, is really been what enabled us to make our value and the added cost of building something like this easier for the client to accept. And then, of course, nowadays with AI, also building this is becoming cheaper, so the difference really is shrinking.
I wanted to ask you a question about, have you and the team looked into Figma Motion and how that fits into a brand system, and how companies could leverage you as a company to build systems for them internally that would benefit their motion design system inside a brand?
Totally. Yeah, I was at Config actually like 1 month ago or something like that. It was my first time going there. I didn't know they would launch Figma Motion, but it was like, okay. It's, of course, I think it's great that more tools are coming out. Of course, Figma Motion is just at the beginning now. It's probably very kind of, not close, but it's more similar tool to maybe something like Jitter. It's interesting. We've been already having a client that has been asking us, can you build this, not Algo, like on an Illo client, can you build what you're building for us inside Figma Motion? Still very limited in the things you can do, but I think it's really great that there's finally so many different tools popping up, and of course you would need to learn them all, but at the same time it's such a great thing that and compared, like it's that these kind of tools like Jitter or Figma Motion are somehow simpler to learn, because of course they're kind of very based on a known pattern for a motion designer. But yeah, and we've been playing with Figma things in Algo. We've been building a Figma plugin in the past. We really think that Figma has the potential to do interesting things in terms of video automation pipelines. Then, yeah, we launched it a few years ago and we stopped a bit developing. Maybe Figma Motion could be a way to bring this forward again, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you.
2 more in the tank. Who's got one? Right down the front. Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you for the talk. Amazing work you guys do.
Thank you.
I have a question about a specific slide where you're showing this kind of cycle of the boring, the not so exciting work that is like big budget versus the more exciting work.
Yes.
So I want to it's not a specific question, but just like if you can speak more to this, and specifically as a studio, how do you carve time for the R&D, or is this things that are running in parallel, and how do you guys manage knowing that with limited resources as any studio has, how do you devote time to and find that balance between the better paid projects and the interesting client projects?
Yeah, it's difficult. Very short answer is very difficult because, of course, you're constantly trying to work on projects, and it's difficult to find the time to work on R&D. We kind of, we saw in the past that if we are not doing R&D for a long time, it's bad for ourselves because we kind of naturally are curious and want to do this kind of stuff. But also at the same time, it's not so good for the business because really going through this sort of flywheel effect is really positive. So yeah, working on a new thing will enable more people to get in touch with us, and so this will lead to more projects. So we try to make it happen. It's not always happening exactly like you plan, and yeah, finding time for, especially our creative team is literally one designer and me as a creative director and 2 motion designers. So you can guess that it's not easy to kind of deviate time out of client projects. But yeah, we really try to do it, and the only way to do it is trying to treat them as if they were client projects. So you put them in the same, we have a file called global schedule where we are tracking all of the client projects, and we add it there. If we don't add it there, it's never gonna happen. So yeah, for example, on the Cavalry web player integration and the creation of Typeflow, we had a bit of a slow month or so, and so we started working on that. And then we started to have a big client project again, but we kind of needed to go forward because if you lose momentum on these things, it's crazy. It's better to kind of combine R&D in the shortest time possible. So we were able in the end to work on it. But yeah, a couple of months, not entirely, not 4 people, 5 people entirely on this all the time, of course, but a portion of that. So it's not easy, but I think it's really beneficial. That's why I put the slide, because I think more people should do it, or like maybe you're doing it, but it's kind of really important. And also it works for the technical R&D, but also for the visual R&D. I think at some point with Illo, we did a project for our 7th birthday, which was a studio project in which everyone was working, anyone from the team was working on it, and was not technical. It was a kind of a visual R&D in terms of what style we think we should do next. And that really brought us many projects after that. So sometimes it's really important to defend some time away from client projects in order to try to do this kind of flywheel process.
Nice, thank you. Very detailed answer. I've got one more. Oh, right down the other side at the back. Excellent.
Thank you. Hiya. Thank you for the presentation. It was really inspiring.
Thanks.
My question is surrounding clients and perhaps the trends that you notice with these clients that want to build these generative, scalable design systems. Do they have their own in-house marketing teams? Or do they have their own in-house design teams? How, I guess, eager are they willing to collaborate with you, or is it just they kind of outline the brief and you get on with it? What's that relationship like?
Yeah, totally. They have their marketing team, they have their internal design team most of the time, or they can be as small as maybe one designer, but normally a bit bigger. The relationship, normally it's, of course, they know, and their design team does so many different things other than this that they kind of recognize that probably they need some help on some aspects of it. Now it's a topic with AI making it easy to vibe code a tool like that. Will we still have a job in maybe 1 year time? I don't know. I will tell you in 1 year. But overall, it's the relationship is quite clear in the sense that they see us as first as a creative partner for helping them do similar things or kind of explore the maybe generative aspect that maybe they are not familiar with internally, and then of course they recognize us as a technical team that is able to help them with that. So, and also the Algo projects are always kind of they start as a normal project in terms of like you have a process of normally a couple of months, and you build these tools. And then the collaboration with their team continues, because of course they are using every day the tool, and also we charge them a subscription for doing that. And so basically we are constantly going there and updating or changing or solving a bug or helping them find a new solution or understand when it's the system is being used a bit too much, and maybe they need to edit something to refresh some aspect of it or create a new template. So it's really important, to have a constant relationship and to, be on the same page on what you want to achieve. And generally, they really like the internal creative team. There's no ego involved, because they understand that we are freeing their time. Like normally, the best client for me to sell Algo projects to is a creative team that is completely dumped with requests of things by everyone in the company. It's like, please help me. I need to build a tool so that they can use it and I can be a bit more free to. So that is really, this puts us on the same path, on the same win-win scenario.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, that wraps it up for questions for Luca. Can we give him one round of applause real quick?
Thank you.
So I just do want to reiterate, as I do every time we finish these things up, that it's a real, genuine pleasure to be here putting these events on, manning the mic month after month. We will be releasing the details of our next event in August, in due course. Those will be on the socials. Always worth following us on all of our social places like LinkedIn, Eventbrite, etc. Just so you can keep up and beat the wait list for some of those of you who didn't quite get tickets in time. Now, please hold your applause till I get to the end of this bit. But thanking each and every one of you here, because it wouldn't happen without you guys. Jonah for spinning the wheels of steel for us tonight. Adam and the entire team at Cavalry and Canva, who allow us to graciously host in this building. Ian and Luca for their fantastic talks, and hopefully you're all now inspired for Cavalry. And obviously my fellow co-organisers who help this happen every single month that we do it. So I believe we do have a bit of pizza at the back for you guys. Please form orderly queues, don't make a rabble, it gets really hard to navigate. And there should still be some drinks in the fridge so you guys, maybe introduce yourself to somebody new, have a little bit of a social. We'll probably be asked to leave around 10 p.m, so just keep that in mind. And then we might head over to the pub for some bevs. So thank you very much. One more time, give it up for London Motion. And we'll see you next month. Avante. Happy?